Welcome to Movie Reedviews with me, Cody Reed. I'm sporting a little scruff for this one, but it's for Project Almanac, which is directed by Dean Israelite, who you've probably never heard of. He's actually never really made a big movie before, starring a bunch of people that you've never heard of, so that doesn't matter. Let's get into the review. So this group of kids, the main star is David, that's the main character. They are, just doing different things, and they happen to come across this old camera from his family, and so they're watching it, and he happens to see his current self on this videotape at his 7th birthday. And so, he's like a senior in high school, so like 10 years older. He sees himself on his 7th birthday, like in the mirror, kind of in the background, and he kind of freaks out. And because of that, it leads to certain events where they start exploring different things, and they find this time machine in his basement that his dad was working on before he died or disappeared. And so you have this time machine that they're being built, and the first hour of the movie is pretty much that, it leads up to that, and then it explores the time machine, trying to make it work, and the different experiments for that. But once they start going with the time machine and actually making it work, and they're going back in time, that's the parts when it really starts to get funny. The movie is actually pretty funny throughout, because these teenagers, they're, normal teenagers, and when they're videotaping everything, which is kind of ridiculous. They go around videotaping this whole experience of theirs, and they're videotaping other girls and things like that, and it's just pretty funny. But when they actually start getting to the time machine part, they do things, of course, that we would all do. They get VIP tickets to concerts, they go and win the lottery, they are going back and trying to fix some of their old mistakes, like getting better grades in school and dealing with bullies. So they would do anything that we would probably do, and it's actually pretty funny that way. Now, like I mentioned, found footage is what you call this type of movie. Found footage is when, the people in the movie are videotaping the entire thing, and it makes it look like it's real. Like, if you found this videotape, all of this stuff really happened. And so I don't think that was really necessary. They could have just made it like a normal movie and showed these kids finding this time machine, but it was still decent that way. But just go in expecting that. If you see this movie, just know that the whole thing, it's not too shaky, but the whole time, they're videotaping like this, and oh my gosh, look at this. So that's what the movie's like. There's this love story between these two teenagers too. This guy likes this girl and he's trying to win her over, and so that part of the movie I didn't really care for, but overall it's still pretty entertaining. Like I mentioned, it has some humor. Once they start getting into the time travel stuff, that's when things really start getting interesting, because it's kind of like Back to the Future. They go back and things change, and it creates like an alternate timeline, so he has to go back and fix that, but then it changes something else. And so like the butterfly effect, it just like once he changes one thing, it changes a whole bunch of other things. And so even though some of the plot lines of the time machine stuff, could kind of be confusing, and you're like, well, that didn't make sense. If he went back, he did this. But overall, like I mentioned, it's still pretty entertaining, even though the acting is okay and the love story stuff I didn't really care for. But I think you'd still find it a pretty good time travel movie. So if you're on the fence, go see it if you like time travel movies, or if you like those found footage type of movies like Cloverfield, Blair Witch Project, Chronicle, that happened a couple years ago. It's actually a lot like Chronicle in that it has to deal with these group of kids and they're videotaping stuff and something happens to them. So it's a lot like that. I personally give it 3 out of 5. It was still above average. It was still kind of entertaining and kind of funny, but it just had some stuff with the plot and the acting that was just okay. But make sure to turn your brain off to the movie too. If you go in, don't be expecting, oh, this will all make sense and it's scientifically correct. Just turn your brain off, and I think you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you like this review, and leave a comment if you did see the movie. Tell me what your thoughts were, and make sure to subscribe so you can get updates on my other reviews. Lastly, you could follow me at Facebook or Twitter, or send me some emails at Gmail. Thanks so much for watching, and happy viewing. What's the deal with time travel? Oh, this group of kids, they find a time machine and they go back. It doesn't make any sense. I wish it would have been me, George, Elaine, and Kramer going back. But I'll give it 2 out of 3 jokes.